Hey, good afternoon, guys. This is my midday video, a little bit later than I normally would do a midday, but this is kind of going to be, from now on, kind of the middle of my day as it turns out. So I'm able to stop here and get some lunch and relax. It's been a relatively uneventful day in terms of walking. I've been highway mostly. So I wanted to give some shout outs. First of all, I want to thank the Clinton Middle School for having me this morning. What a great opportunity, a great bunch of kids, and it was my first time doing a presentation, so I hope I didn't come off as any kind of goofball. I didn't know how long they wanted me to talk, so I tried to keep it very brief, which I know you people will find surprising. So I wanted to take advantage of today to do some shout outs to people as a way of saying thank you, because some folks have really reached out, not just in terms of caring, but in terms of their knowledge and some things that I didn't even know existed and what they've reached out to do. But before I do that, I want to just kind of share a couple of things, random thoughts I had while walking the highway today. One thing was very cool. I don't know where NASCAR is this weekend and where they were, but they must be traveling east, because I saw a whole mess of trucks. Austin Dillon's, Paul Menard, Chase is escaping me. The one that I thought was the coolest was Brad Keselowski's number 2 car. Most of the trailers have, like an 18-wheel, like if you've seen Lightning McQueen on cars, they've got that with the painting of the picture or the sponsor on the side. Well, the Miller Lite car, Keselowski's car, is very cool. On the rear end of it, like when you collect memorabilia, sports memorabilia, like a baseball, so they put in this like acrylic case. Well, the back end of the truck was like almost this glass acrylic, so you could see the car. It was almost like it was on someone's desktop, just sitting there driving on the highway. It was so very, very cool. So that was one of the takeaways from today. The other one that I kind of thought about was if I saw 10, I probably saw 60 of these motorhomes with a smaller car traveling behind it. And all I wanted to let these folks know is that I'd be more than happy to take that car they're trailing with and meet them up where they got to go. I'll be there in a couple weeks, and be more than happy to drive it up to them and save me the wear and tear. But actually, the weather's been beautiful today. It's been a breeze, so I haven't been dripping with sweat. It's been hot and sweaty, but not like normally. Normally, you see sweat dripping off my brow by now. But the breeze has made that really cool. So some of the shout outs. I know I had one when I started my journey, and I gave it back home to my kids. But the solar powered battery pack has been so valuable to me, and here's why. That Scott had sent me. It's so valuable because with the solar power, I can keep it on all the time. I can actually listen to music, and I can absolutely tell you that I wasn't timing myself all the time, but I did miles today much faster than I've done in the past, because the music keeps me going. I roughly walk about 3 miles an hour, which is about 20 minutes a mile. So in my mind, people ask me on one of my live streams, how do I keep myself busy mentally? Well, today, the first time I'm ever able to do this, assuming every song's, let's say, 3.5 minutes, every 6 songs is a mile. So I just was able to, count songs and try to remember which songs I was listening to and count the miles that way. And it really kept my step going pretty good. Definitely stayed hydrated. So I want to give Scott a shout out. Most importantly, I met Mike and Carla Lilly back in Miami, Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. And they kind of passed word on to their son, Nathan. And Nathan's wife is a teacher at the middle school that got me to speak with them today, and I met Nathan this morning. And sometimes when you're around brilliance, it's such a unique thing. What a terrifically bright young man he is. But I was so fascinated. I could have sat down to him for hours, talk about his profession. And I'm not going to do the title right, but basically he works for the Department of the Interior in terms of handling forest fires, and he used to be on the ground doing it, but now he does like data analysis and mapping and planning and like kind of geologistics is how they plan, where to kind of burn out to try to stop the fire, control wildfires and things like that. Really fascinating stuff, man. They kind of on call 24/7 because you got to fly out of state. He has a region here in Oklahoma, and I think parts of Texas. That he handles, but of course these guys get called out to out west of the wildfires out there, and it was just really, really neat listening to him talk about his job and how it works, and frankly the danger, not that he faces as much anymore because he's not on the ground, but you know, we kind of shrug our shoulders about firefighters, and we see the damage on TV. Just like I'm sure sometimes we see the flooding of the hurricane and go, okay, well, it's 2 days, it's over. But to hear people talk about it, he was sharing a story with me how a couple of guys he was with literally had to jump into like a river as the fire was chasing them down, and essentially they were facing, you know, their imminent death. And you hear people talk about that in their job. Most of us go to our job, we don't face death on a you know, when you're called to a fire to put out a forest fire, a wildfire, it's just that, it's a wildfire. And I couldn't even imagine what that's like. So it was real fascinating to speak with him individually, and then I get a chance to speak with the class. So also he was telling me that he had suggested something that I just got suggested the day before by another journey friend. Jim Newmeister has been following me all along, and he's the one that talked to me about the Campgrounds of America and suggested that. Well, they were telling me about this, knowing I'm a little bit concerned about going west, that there's kind of a satellite GPS tracker. It's fairly costly, but it basically sends pings to satellite so people will know my whereabouts. And then if I ever get into real trouble, there's an SOS code that goes right out to the 911 folks and emergency personnel, and they can dispatch towards me. And Jim inquired about it, and I think it's through Garmin. I might be using the terminology wrong, but Nathan suggested it as well. And I believe when Garmin talked to Jim, they were basically going to, there's a I guess like a rental fee and then a fee per usage, and they really believed in Point to Thumb Journey, and we're going to waive that fee, kind of as a show of support for us and what we're doing. And that's pretty awesome, and I can't thank Garmin enough for doing that. I've got to get it set up to where I can get it sent to me when I get an address and things of that nature. So again, I wanted to give shout outs and recognize, I mean, there's been so many people that have been reaching out to me on the journey and helping along the way, but just most recently, like I said, Jim, for talking about Campgrounds of America, for talking about this Garmin GPS system, you know, Scott Redding for, you know, getting me the dolly that I use now, that's made my life a bit easier, the battery packs that have made the walk get a bit easier, you know, Mike Lilly, who turned me on to Nathan Lilly, and his wife Des, and the school, the whole school, for letting me come on down. Here are these bugs again, just eating me right in front of me. So just some really great folks, and I'm sure I'm missing out some other people. The Danielle back at the Campground of America that let me stay an extra night and welcomed me in support of the cause. I greatly appreciate that. Guys, I'm at kind of a truck stop now, so I apologize about the noise in the background. It is what it is. But you know, that's about it. I'm sure I missed some people in there. I'm sure I missed some things to discuss. Although again, for today, mostly the only two things that really came up on the highway that I had of substance was all the NASCAR trailers going by. Brez Keselowski's was the coolest trailer, and the idea that every time I see one of these motorhomes with a car towed behind it, I want to, hey guys, just drop the car off. I'll bring it to you, I promise. That's about it. But time is going good. I'm really looking forward to the countdown. I'm going to get with Toby about that, and making these 35 miles a day. I'm fortunate today because I got a little bit of a ride out past Weatherford to Clinton. I only had to do about 28 today, so I still got some work ahead of me yet, but I'll get it in. I'm doing pretty good. In fact, I think there were some miles that I did maybe 3.5 miles in an hour. So, you know, you do that 2 or 3 hours a day, you gain an hour and a half back of your day. So, I mean, I shouldn't say, I get 1.5 miles back, and that's about 30 minutes. So that makes up for the breaks I'm taking and things, the breaks, the rest, the water break. So that's about it. Can't wait to talk to my kids. They'll be off school shortly. Just doing my thing, and then I'll keep you updated. I do know that the Rhineckers have been with me from the day I started. Have a relative or a friendly friend in Albuquerque, so eventually when I get out there, I hope to have some people to talk to. I think there are 2 people in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Flagstaff. No, there might be 2 people in Albuquerque. I think somebody else was in Albuquerque as well, so that might be able to help me out getting both sides, depending upon what side of Albuquerque they're in. And then I got somebody down in Arizona that's willing to kind of come up and help me out, I think, and kind of get me up to the Grand Canyon for some pictures, so that'll at least help out a day there. So there's a few days that I've got some folks looking out, reaching out to me. I'm excited by that. You know, I love the stories. The stories become, you know, fewer and further between, but they're still there. They'll present themselves. God's had a way of just dropping people into my lap along this journey. It's been an amazing phenomenon. So, Let me get these people away. It's a little crowded here. I love you guys. Thank you for following. Stay updated. Today's Monday, the first day of week 11. I should be heading towards the Texas border tomorrow, I believe, or being close to it, if not into Texas. You know, I'll be in that general vicinity. Tonight I'll be heading up and just finishing up not far from here in Elk City, and just letting you guys know what's going on. All right, so much love. Thanks for following. Have a great day, guys. Bye bye.